performance development system is the system I've developed over 28 years. The key thing about it is it evolved from me being a commando trained physical instructor in the British Army, realising I was pretty useless at what I was doing because I wasn't developing the people if they didn't have the mental robustness or the motivation or the understanding of things to keep up. So all we were doing was the people that had those internal skills, the software if you like, passed. The people that didn't failed. So in 1990 I thought I either needed to change my job or change the way I did it. So I went on this journey of development to come up with a systemic, robust, scalable process that could help coaches, managers, teachers engage the people they're working with, kind of making themselves redundant to give the students, the athletes, players, the confidence and competence to make effective choices, unsupervised, commit with intent, review the choice and the execution, unsupervised under any type of pressure, relentlessly keeping going. So it's that thing about developing a culture and environment that you don't need to be in to keep it alive. So I've worked now across over 25 national, international sports, primary schools, secondary schools, colleges, universities, some in inner city London, some of the biggest sports, Olympic, Commonwealth champions, using exactly the same principles to get the best out of individuals to help them grow to be the best version of themselves. So that's the system in a nutshell. It can work with the major league, the minor league, the community, all the way down to the youngest kids that we're now involved from grassroots. How we can develop a way of thinking, a way of being to help maximize the journey any athlete is on of any age, whether that's a leisure, first day experience or one of the top players in the world. So one of the interesting questions I always get with a new sport is, Mark, do you know baseball at all? Our sport's quite unique and different. The key thing about PDS is it's not context specific. So you don't need to know the context, whether it's a teacher doing algebra or a baseball coach, a tennis coach, a golf coach, a rugby, soccer, it really doesn't make any difference. So one of the things we did on one of the visits was that I just led a coaching session. So I used the GoPros, other cameras are available, on the chest, recorded. We just went down the community. I didn't know the players. I'd met the coaches once on a presentation I delivered to them. I just ran the session. And what's great with that is you see the coaches seeing the impact very quickly the principals have within the players, the engagement, the way they communicate, the way they have focus. Makes things very simple, and sometimes people need that experience to think, oh, okay, this is not about the tactical or the technical. This is about the human being that we're asking to learn, understand, apply these principles of the technical and tactical. So I think that was a big opening, especially for Matt and the other coaches that saw Mark coaching a sport he doesn't know anything about, but saw the immediate impact it had on the players we were working with. One of the things with Cleveland Indians is that they really want to be the innovators. So they're really positive about growing and be the best they can be. But with that comes one of the common challenges I see with so many sports and organizations is it's not the desire to change that's key. It's actually getting people to understand there's a support mechanism for transition. So if we're asking a community coach, a grassroots coach, a manager, a HR, doesn't matter who it is, a major league, a minor league coach, we need to understand if we're asking them to change, there's some barriers there. And it's having something in place that understanding one of the most important elements for athlete development we know is coach development. But one of the critical elements for coach development is supporting the change of the transition of the coach. So one of the things that we very quickly spoke about when we wanted to put an intervention in here is we need to make sure that the coaches buy in and understand we're not challenging their uniqueness, but also understand there has to be a mentoring process to support the change of the coaches, because it's not like a matrix film you screw something in the back of the head. It's understanding that change is tough and it's very easy to regress. And it's using the same principles we want to embrace, self-empowered, athlete-centered, athletes, players. We want to develop the same principles as a mentor to use with the coaches to help them embrace the process of change. And for me, that's the biggest barrier with organizations and sports. When they don't invest in that area, that's when the regression happens and you don't get the change you want. So one of the refreshing parts of my job is putting an intervention in place, supporting the mentors and the coaches, and then letting them go away, have a go. Still supporting from afar, but then coming back. So what was great, especially third, fourth, fifth visit, is seeing the coaches just going for it. Coaches interacting with kids that have never had the confidence to talk to someone, to an adult in the way they had before. Never had the confidence to go and say to another player what you need to do better, or actually say to them, that was great, that was brilliant, because the culture was never there before. And actually seeing kids of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old accepting feedback and not seeing it as negative, knowing that people are reaching out to want to help people get better without the coach having to step in, showed that the coaches had changed the way they were coaching to a point where they were impacting on people's lives. And I think this is the important element. They're investing in the community because they know it has an impact, not just in baseball, but actually developing people that could impact on for the next 5, 10, 20 years. These are qualities that sometimes senior level teams don't have because the culture's been coach-led. I believe everywhere you go with every intervention, they've got unique challenges. We have some organisations that actually, they have kids turn up and they sometimes turn up once or twice a week, but then the next week they may not turn up. Then we have sports teams that are full-time, but midway through the season, how tough it is for the coaches now. How can I keep this athlete engaged? Because now it's another game, it's another training session. One thing that is clear, that when you apply the principles and understand them, you can help people reset when they're unacceptable, self-manage themselves to understand, why am I here, what is purpose, what is success, and how can I use me to be the best I can, but help the people around me be the best they can. Let's not forget the impact every coach that's been involved in the program, the impact that it's going to have within their lives, their careers for the next 5, 10 years. It's not just about the players. And I think sometimes we lose sight of, we're all about the athlete, we're all about the player, but actually we're not investing as much energy and support in the influencers, which are the coaches and the mentors and the managers. It's the support network of the influencers that makes the success, not so much just focused on the athletes or the kids. It showed the scalability of how we can expand it, but also showed how much investment we need to have in the coaches to keep them fresh, to keep them alive, to let them know the support, to let them know it may be the 1,000th time you've done that session, but for this new person, it's the first experience. We can actually measure people's behaviors. You can see the before and after when they walk in the door of how we are having an impact beyond the time we have with them. And the fact now we have a model that we can scale to different age groups, different towns, different cities, where we can have the Indians way, living and breathing within the kids in the classroom, in a school. The coaches and the mentors we're working with connect them to, they can transfer that into their lives. Now it's transformational, now it's impactful, now there's a real turn on the investment beyond just we're running camps. And I think that's the most priceless thing of how we've embraced the PDS way linked into the Indians way. For me, I think that's very special.